I have the amazing Monique Ameling on with us from Belgium. Let's get started.
Thank you, Shylo. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Across the pond, we are huge difference away. I love technology for this reason. I have a love hate. I have a love hate. So,
Why is that?
like I'm telling you, like I had so many things glitching on me over the last like few weeks where if a Zoom link or something wasn't working, or we were trying to create a bot, for example, for our team. And
Yeah.
it took 3.5 weeks of just crazy, weird glitches, Facebook being awful. And then it wasn't Facebook, it was a code. And then there was, we're always faced with challenges, entrepreneurs. You are also a mom.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell our viewers, because I've gotten to know you over the last year. I got to collaborate with you a little bit, and we'll talk about
Yeah.
that. But tell us a little bit more about you.
Well, my name is, like you said, Monique. I'm a mom of two. My daughter is 21 and my son is 16. So that gives you an idea of my young age.
Yeah.
And I'm from Holland. I'm a Dutchie and Dutchie mom. I live about 15 minutes from the border from Holland in Belgium. So, and I'm an entrepreneur by birth, maybe. I don't know. I was selling earrings in school for $1 when I was 12, and I always did things entrepreneurial. And I wanted to become an esthetician or a beautician. And but I took a side track to university law school. I went to law school for 2.5 years to decide that that was not for me, that I didn't want to defend criminals. So I went back to evening school and started my beauty parlor. And after that, that turned into a skincare business. And I had a master in acne and skin cancer. So that was really my passion. But after 28 years, I decided it was enough. Enough is enough. And I think 2015, something like that, I turned to online. 2018, 18, I stopped my shops. And a few years ago, I came to the realization that there was another passion, and that is why I reached out to you last year and this year again. So a little bit of that.
Well, I love that. Okay, so you have a 21-year-old. I always laugh and like, they're still our babies, even though now you always say like, oh, they'll be like so free and on their own. And like, no, they're still the baby. They still always need mom. And it's so interesting having a 21-year-old. Now she's gonna be 22, I have to say, in another couple months. But
Yeah, mine too.
yeah, it's so funny because I'm like, they had she had a really cool life, but she also like, she always wants to come back to me and be like, you never taught me this. You never taught me this. I'm like, no one taught me that. Like, I had to learn it. Like, she's always like, you didn't teach me how to do taxes. I'm like, girlfriend, nobody taught me how to do taxes. I had to learn that on my own. She's so funny, but she's a little hustler too, and she's an entrepreneur. But I love that you said that, selling earrings in school, because I always say that I was a little hustler all my life. Like if there was any fundraiser or something, a challenge, like we had to sell candy bars or we had to sell so many things, like I'd go door to door and I would go everywhere and I would sell the crap out of it for what, a little prize that we but
Yeah, it was a little prize that was the most important, not what you earned. It was that.
yeah, it was like the random toy that you got. You sold all this product for these companies as a kid. But law school, that's interesting. What was the original passion behind going to law school? What were you?
I saw a movie with Jacqueline Smith, in which her father was a lawyer, and he had to go up against Armand Assante, who was the criminal, the Italian gangster, and so on. And with the little birdie that he got, the yellow bird. And I saw that movie, and then I decided that I wanted to be a lawyer and defend the good people. So that is the reason. I didn't know what to do. I thought I was going to be a pharmacist assistant.
Oh,
So, but that's me. I can turn around when opportunities come up. Then and I can change. I can adapt. But I was 15 and I knew I wanted to be a lawyer. But that was a good thing because I was not such a good student. And we have several degrees in Holland. I don't know if that works the same way in the States, but you do first a certain degree, and if you want to go further, you can do the second degree, and so on and so on. So I needed a higher degree to go to university than where I was, and that stimulated me to go as the first one in our family to university. So that was fun. So
well, entrepreneurs, we do shift and pivot. I mean, and we see opportunity, we're like, okay, okay. But also when we do that, the other good part about that is we know when something's not our passion. Like we don't sit on it and sit on it. Like we're able to make those quick decisions. I went to school, so I was a dental hygienist, believe it or not, for almost 10 years. I recently let my license go because I wasn't using it. I mean, I had been so out of that for so long. When I originally went, I had a passion for like teeth and transformations. And I always loved that in high school. And I was the girl with the bright white teeth. And like I was really into cosmetic things. And I thought, oh my gosh, this would be a great career for me. And of course, they really pushed that career for years and years. Like, oh, you can get it in under 4 years. You can make so much money. And when I got into it, I was excited, but when I saw kind of the reality of it, the market was completely flooded.
yeah,
We busted through kind of a 3-year program. Some places it's 4, some places it's 3. It took me about 3 years, but I got out. There was so many of us. I started at a lower wage, which is normal. You don't have experience, but it wasn't what it was painted out to be. And so there was really no room for growth. And I ended up in the direct sales space, just like you, direct sales, digital sales space, online marketing, kind of because of that. I couldn't pick up any more hours. I just had a baby. So, tell me how you kind of fell into that. Obviously, you're a natural born, you're a businesswoman, you're sales, you love that, but you got into the industry. What industry did you go into? Wellness, or was it all skincare, or what did you?
no, it was health. It was healthy food and nutrition. And well, as a skincare therapist, especially when you're interested in anti-aging, that was my thing. I knew that food was very important. So one day, a guy came into my store and he said, "Can I talk to you about food supplements?" And it was fruit and vegetables. And when he that was funny because I already learned things about food supplements before through my beauty products. So when I was talking to him, I said, but do they also do this and that and that? And he didn't know that. But I knew at that moment that if I could combine those supplements with my skincare treatment, so I could treat them from the external side and the internal side, that I would have the magic combination. So that is how it started. And I was so enthusiastic about the product that I sold a lot. But I sold a lot. I didn't know that it was digital marketing or internet marketing or network marketing. I didn't know that. I sold. And that is when afterwards, when I got my paycheck, that I understood, okay, there's something else going on there. And that is how I discovered it. And then afterwards, I knew that the internet was the most important thing. So that I turned further and further to the internet. And I stopped doing that, the building part, but I continued online.
Yeah. Well, online really is, thank God for online after this last couple of years. And, so when I got started, it was parties. We were doing party.
Yeah.
I did not like doing that, but I did it because I needed the money. So I got kind of started where we're like, I need the money, I'll do it. But it made me learn how to be a public speaker. It made me learn how to communicate better and grow myself, which is why we love the industry. But as we kept going, I got into a company that was really shifting, kind of the beginning stages of shifting. Like, we're not going to do a ton of parties. We still did parties, but we didn't do it as much as we were. And we were trying to shift online. And ultimately, I landed now into an all online company. And so it was like perfect timing for what happened with the world shutting down.
Yeah.
because our businesses, as you know, grew. I mean, ours grew 300% that first year, 300%, because people were needing online businesses, and also all online. They were ordering everything online and they needed to have it shipped to them. So talk about that. I know you have a passion for women, as do I. You
Yeah.
have a passion for women. You got into this industry that's majority of women. But there's spots, or I like to say holes, where as women entrepreneurs, we need to come in and bring in bring the ladies up, per se, and that's really what you're doing a lot of. So talk about how you shifted your role from, being a promoter, you got into this industry, to really getting into the mentorship training and really empowering women. How did that all come to fruition?
Well, I found myself more and more in front of the class instead of building. So I was always the go-to girl, and that is something you don't need. That is not very good for your business in our business. But I found myself more and more in front of the class, in front of big rooms with a lot of people, and I love that. And afterwards, I discovered that I could do that online and reach many more people. But also through the years, I discovered that there are a lot of women out there who would benefit from having an online business. Because I think that if something learned us in the last 2 years, that is we live in a different world, and we live in a world where there are so many possibilities, so many opportunities. But most of the people don't understand it, don't see it. I always say you can put 3,500 people in the same room that go visit the same convention, but they all go home with a different story. And because they are all in a different stage in their life, they can be on stage or in the different page in their book, on page 1 or on page 100 or 200. So, and that is why that is how I discovered that a lot of ladies would love to have their online business, but they just don't know how to start, because they see so many beautiful women out there that are very inspiring, but sometimes they cannot grasp it. It is too far, because what we see on stage is the end product. It's not the way to it. And that is something that I struggled with. I was always admiring people like you and people and the leaders in our business. And I thought, how did they do that? There must be something in between. And through the years, with a lot of personal development and coaching and so on, I discovered the way to there is so important. And I was thinking last year with the summit, how can I reach more people? Because I'm convinced if many more women would earn their own income, this world would change, because they would be stronger. They would create more possibilities for themselves, for their families, for their health, for their clothing, for their teeth, for whatever. And but this year on the summit, I think what we learn the most is storytelling. What is the story that for example, when my mom was in the hospital having my brother, there is 9 years between us, my father told us a story, and that is something that never happened, but that is something that you remember for the whole for your whole life. And that is what I am with the upcoming summit is women, inspiring women from all different countries, from all different upbringings, that they tell their story. Who is the little child? Who was the little child, Shylo? How did she grow up? And what made her start an online business? But also, what story can you tell us about it? And what story impacted your life because you helped somebody else? So, and I think that the more we can tell these stories to the people, the more people can say, okay, that is something I resonate with, or that person I resonate with, and so on and so on. So I think storytelling is important, because we all have a story to share.
One of the things that I noticed when I was first getting started in the industry, because you touched on it, but I'll kind of go into it, is they were showing the end result, and they had all these great stories. Like, you would always hear, like, oh, they earned a car, and they're living in $1 million home. Look at their life. And after I started to get into, higher level leadership, I'm like, no, that's not the story. I'm like, you're not telling people how you're actually doing it. What was missing is the actual actions. What were the actions? Okay. So I think there's a lot of people, and I have nothing against people who have created a lifestyle, and I'm all about it. But for me, I'm action. Actions speak louder than words. Words don't teach, experience teaches. So what was the experience? And we go to that part of the story. I had filtered myself because when I first got started, this, you may be able to relate to this. I didn't know that my story would be like taken very well because I come from humble beginnings. I went through a lot of things, nothing more or less than anyone else. I wasn't unique, but my story is my story. And so I didn't share so much of it because I thought, oh, they're not going to want to hear that. Maybe I don't talk about, some of the things in my family, but that when I started opening up about my real story, that's when people could relate to me. That's when people wanted to come talk to me. And they're like, now I get it. Because if you just look at somebody on social media, you see either a pretty face or you see whatever they're representing, whatever they want to represent,
Whatever filter they use.
whatever filter they use. You don't know what happened 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and you can make it look pretty because we were doing that too. My story was pretty and polished. It didn't work. And I always was wondering, like, why is this not working? And when I stopped and was like, no, just say it how it really is, it opened up a totally new world to me. And even my followers were thankful because now they could understand who I am. Because when they met me, people would love me usually. I mean, and the first thing they would say is, and now that I met you, I totally get it. It's like, yeah, because you can't judge somebody by a picture or a post. You have to actually have conversation and really understand where they're coming from. So let's talk about that. You want to bring in the story. I think it's fabulous. And, the real stories, like the grit.
Yeah, because it's more relatable. Your story is amazing. I like it's now a year ago. It's almost a year ago in March. But the story you told me a little bit behind the scenes before we started, that was something that totally impressed me. And I followed you through the year. I saw the changes, your growth, I still get goosebumps when I see you take those pictures. That was a dream of you, if I remember correctly, to model before, and you're doing. Your story is amazing, but if people don't know about it, they cannot relate. If they only see pretty pictures of you doing those wonderful pictures, but that is not the whole story. There is a lot behind it, and so with a lot of different women in the group, and that are going to represent in the summit, they have all different stories, and that is what is relatable, and that is what is going to touch people's heart, I think. And if it touches a heart, then it is going to make people think, or that is my goal. Okay, if they can do it, then I can do it, because they started out as a normal human person. It's not some superwoman that can overcome everything. No, it's a normal person of flesh and blood. And that is the whole idea behind it.
Absolutely. And I think we can all identify a story someone told us that impacted our lives. Yeah. So I can think of, like, there's about 5 people that if you said their names, they'd be like, I know the story, I know where I was, and I know why it impacted me. I was going to sneeze. My eyes are watering. I was holding it in, and now I'm like, looks like I'm crying, and I'm not crying. But my eyes are watering. So, but I could think of, I think of really great leaders and speakers, and I'm like, I remember where I was. I remember the story, because at the time it was said, I needed to hear it.
Yeah. And you heard that story, and the person next to you didn't hear that story.
Right.
Because or they weren't open for it, or they weren't ready for it. And that is what is so amazing. And that is also what is happening now in the world. And people are not ready for certain things, or to understand things, or they are afraid for it. And I think that the more we can empower them to think for themselves, firstly, but also to create something for themselves. Because when you have more money, and I don't say that you have to get to become a millionaire or whatever your goal is. If it's $1,000 extra a month, or 10,000, that is your dream, your goal. But if you have more, you can do more. If you have more, you can give more. And if you can give more, you get more back in return. And that is is going to rub off on other people. And I think that is going to soften the things a little bit more and take off a little bit the anxiety that is happening all over the place.
Absolutely. So, we have a lot of everyone who listens to the show for the majority is a lady, a woman entrepreneur. And so many people are looking to get started. And what I call it is noise. I mean, everywhere we look, there's an opportunity. And, you can see Bitcoin and there's nothing wrong with these things. And, startups, and we hear all these buzzwords. Yeah. So talk about what would be your top 3 things to look for? Because I know mine, but I would love to hear from you. What would be your top 3 things to look for if you're starting an online business for anyone, not specific companies, but just generalizations of what you would look for if you were going to go start a business today?
Yeah. First of all, that it is something that I understand. You talk about crypto, that is something I don't understand. And if you are a busy mom and if you are running around or you're busy, then if you want to start something, it has to be simple and it has to be duplicatable. And if it's too difficult, you're going to quit. So I would start with something that has my passion, and that can be health, that can be products, that can be shoes, whatever it is that you like, and go and find something that you can do with that product in the form of online selling, direct selling, whatever pleases you best, and do it in a simple way. Start in a simple way, but because the more difficult you make it for yourself, the higher chances are that you are going to quit. It has to be simple. It has to be only 2-3 things that you have to do every day until you have momentum, until you see that the ball gets rolling, and then you continue, and then you can add some steps.
I like that, because a lot of times in people who are recruiting, so I'm a recruiter, a lot of the times we get caught up as recruiters and we're like, oh, you could, we're thinking big picture type stuff. And you really have to break it down to meet them where they're at.
Yeah. What is their level of
thinking? So that's why it's so important to build relationships. And because a lot of times I see, and I used to do this, so I can talk about it, I was putting my goals on other people and assuming that's what they wanted. And when I stopped doing that, and I was like, wait a minute, what would you like? What can you do? What are you most excited about? When I started listening and really not putting my own goals in front of people, my whole business changed. And that's when you see the momentum, and that's when you see people having fun. And when people are having fun, they don't care if they're making $100, $10. They're having fun. They're part of the community and the culture, culture is huge for me. So
that is something that I saw a lot. Sorry that I interrupted you, but that is what I saw a lot too, is that if you were not working, if you were not building, if you were not hustling, then you were not important for the leaders. That is what happens a lot. And that is such a shame, because, Ray Higdon, he always says, keep the people around the fire. You never know when the spark gets to them. And that can be in 1 year, that can be in 10 years. That doesn't matter. The reason that they stay there, that is so important. And that is something that I found really that troubled me. I think, why is somebody that is just starting, or after 3 or 4 months, that is not working hard, is less valuable than somebody who that shouldn't be important for the recruiter, so that is something that you have to give a warm bath. We say that they feel free and feel at home, at ease in the community that they are at. And I think that will make them stronger and will make them grow. And maybe one day they start something for themselves too.
Mm-hmm. Well, community is everything too. And making sure that everybody is celebrated, no matter what it is. I really veered away from after my second, even in the middle of my second company. I don't want to highlight the top leader constantly, because there's no point. The people that are the brand new person is the most important person. Then everyone else is still important. Everyone, if they want to be a part of it, great. Celebrate what they're doing. If they participate, even people who are cheerleaders, I love them. Hey, if you're here, great. There's a lot of times there are people that stick around for even years that may not say stuff. And I just touch base every now and then. Hi, how are you? I've been thinking about you. You know what? I really want to get started. Or they want to feel appreciated. They want to feel valued. And value is not a rank. Value is not money. That does not determine your worth. And a lot of people get into these companies, and unfortunately, depending on the culture, that can happen, but that's not true. And a really smart leader, a good leader, knows that, and they give value to everyone, not just the few.
Yeah, that's so important. I totally agree.
So what would be your last thing you'd tell someone if getting started? Make sure it's simple, you can find passion, and you can do it.
Stick to it. Stick to a system. Stick to a system for at least 1 year. So if you are working with somebody, or you be coachable, so that means that if there is somebody in the company, if you are in the company working, or somebody in the space that you are in that has success and that has a certain system, follow that system for at least 1 year. Don't do anything else. Throw away all the other shiny objects. Choose one system, one way of working, and do that for a whole year. Only after 1 year you can see if it works, yes or no.
Absolutely. This is one thing that happens a lot, not just in what we do, in any business. You see people that will hop in, and I'm not putting anyone down for making changes, but you do have to commit, because I see a lot of people, they're like, well, I wasn't successful after 6 weeks. Like, what business?
What wasn't for me?
Yeah. What business, when you do online marketing, this is true too, that you get started for minimal. You don't even have to have brick and mortar. You don't have to do all these setting. You're seeding hundreds of thousands of dollars just to start the business. So if you invest $300, $100, $600, maybe you invest that to have product. Usually you get product, and you have a business. So you have all this. You become a business owner. And would you do that if you opened up? I always use an example. If you opened up a yoga studio, would you shut the doors after 3 months because it wasn't crushing? No, because you took out a loan. You were heavily invested. You've got things. You've got marketing. You're doing all things. So did you do the same thing you would do as if you had to take out $100,000 loan, $300,000 loan? Most people just don't view it like that, but they give up, and then they go to another thing, and then they go to another thing. And I'm like, commit to one thing and watch what happens when you commit to it and you're coachable, and know that you have to grow yourself to get there. Because you're not, I mean, I'm learning every single day, and I'm going to this next transition. It never stops.
And the more you learn, the less you know.
Oh,
that is so fun. But do your due diligence when you start, when you choose a product or a company or whatever. Do your due diligence. Who did well? And go find that person, talk to that person, see what that person does, and then start doing the same thing. Model the person that has success, but stick to it for at least a year. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I know you have so much coming. The summit's going to be fabulous. Let's talk about it really quick. When is it? Where we can find it. We're going to post the links and everything, but I'm very excited for it this year. I really enjoyed participating last year, and some of our girls got to participate. So let's talk about that as we wrap up, and where people can kind of look for it and be a part of it if they want to.
Yes, the name of the summit is LadyPreneurs on Fire, Freedom Seekers, and Be the Change is the subtitle, the subject. And as we are still working on it, there is a waiting list. So if you want to get notified to get when the summit launches, then go to LadyPreneurs on Fire summit.com/waiting list. So you can get on the waiting list. And as a thank you for waiting, you get a free training on passive income, so that you have something in return, let's say. Furthermore, you can find me on Facebook, Monique Ameling, on Instagram, Monique Ameling, and everywhere. A positivity dealer, type it in Google and you can find me. That is my brand name, and that is why I'm doing this, to spread positivity as much as possible, because for one negative thing, you have to hear 17 positive things to neutralize it. So we have work to do.
Absolutely. We all do. And affirmations, everything we say, and really, find the appreciation and gratitude in things. And something like the one thing that I've been trying to do lately, and this is just another level up and shift, is whenever I feel those anxiety moments, or when I'm having those moments, I have to step back and go, what do I have right now in my life that it's true? So something that's true that I appreciate. And when you can do that, you can balance your nervous system in seconds, and breathing in and breathing out. It's incredible what it'll do. But people really have to tap into that because the world is, full of it. And we've just got to get people to get focused, keep all that noise out, and just get focused on the positivity. And that's why I'm so grateful to have you on, because you are a bright light in this world and you bring up lots of ladies, entrepreneurs, and your summit's going to be incredible. And I'm so excited to be promoting it.